Botanical greenhouse tour. Let me show you Hortus Leiden with Ans. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, my name is Roos, my pronouns are she, her, and today I am at Hortus Leiden, the Botanical Gardens of Leiden, one of the oldest, or I think the oldest botanical gardens in the Netherlands. And it was started in 1590 according to their website, so it's really old. The building behind me here is the Orangerie. In winter it is used as storage for non-winter hardy plants. In the other seasons it's used as an event space. So I'm going to take you into the greenhouses now, the tropical greenhouses, and I am here with Ans, Urban Jungling on Instagram. She's amazing, so we're gonna check out some of our favorites. Let's go. Tropical greenhouses. Whee! Ooh, nice squeaky door. Immediately at the entrance we have a huge Monstera deliciosa with some variegation. You can see it better at the older leaves. It's really big. And some of it is just dirt. Okay, let's see. What are some of our favorites? This one was really popular. This is related to a croton, which is kind of weird because I don't normally like crotons, but this looks very cool. And in here, I often walk quite fast in here, but there's actually a bunch of cool plants like the zebrina on the ground here. This I think is a Epipremnum pinnatum, I think. And there's some terrarium plants down there as well. So it's always, I walk by here really fast, but it's better to go slow and check. Like there's a Scindapsus here growing. And this part is pretty dark compared to some of the other greenhouses. So this is more how it would grow in the jungle. There's also little frogs and stuff that live here. You can't currently hear them. But look, there's a Schismatoglotis. And they made this structure into a really nice planty wall as well with ferns and some Hoya and Dischidia kind of things. It is winter, so a lot of the plants are looking a little bit more bare than they do in the growing season. But the sun is shining today, so that is nice. Huge bananas and palm trees. Randomly found some little begonias that have moved here. Some propagations that have been living in the back, but now made it to the front. Let's go up one more level where it's really hot, so I'm gonna struggle in my sweater. Oh, the sun. Oh. This beast over here is Ficus villosa, the hairy beast is what my friend calls it. This is the plant that a lot of people actually grow in their terrariums. It's really hairy, I don't know if you can see, but it gets really big once it is happy. I can't keep them alive in my terrarium, and here it is thriving. Look at that. My glasses are fogging up. This plant is the one that creates those turquoise hanging flowers. They're not here right now. It's the jade plant, I think. It's beautiful. You can walk on this walk bridge, which by the way is quite high, and it will hang all the way down here. It's amazing, but not the right season, so I'll have to come back. Here, jade flower, Strongylodon macrobotris. And an incredibly big banana. Still not reaching the top though. So this greenhouse is like a jungle. They planted everything as it would grow in nature. And then this other greenhouse and all the other ones are a little bit more organized. So plants are in pots and on tables. That's why it has a little bit of a different feel over here. Now this specific one we like because it has the Amorphophallus that I've shown in many of my shorts, if you've seen them. This is Amorphophallus titanum, the biggest one. It's a really interesting plant. Check out my shorts and the hashtag penis plant if you want to see more. But the cool thing is that they have two that are about to flower, not Amorphophallus titanum, but two other ones that have never flowered here before. These two are Amorphophallus gigas, the third big Amorphophallus, and you can see two beautiful bulbs, or how do you call it, like flower buds. Buds is the word I was looking for. And they're going to open in about 2 or 3 weeks, well, depending on the weather. There's also a new Amorphophallus leaf here. You can see nicely how they grow. So they're growing up from a little point, and then it opens up like an umbrella. There's a siren like this. Incredible. Here's a collection of smaller Amorphophallus species. These are actually cool because they actually have 3D patterns pretending to be trees when every plant is actually just one leaf. So this is the petiole and this is one leaf. Even though it looks like a lot of different ones, they are actually leaflets, and a compound leaf is another way to say it. And look, this is so small. Just depends on the species how big they get or how small they stay. There's one more coming up here, and the expert, the volunteer that takes care of these, says that this is most likely also going to be a flower. So that's cool. I can't wait to see it. Then this one is the other one that's gone viral in my reels. This is the Leucocasia gigantea Thai giant, and it is a huge plant. It's incredible because actually this year, this plant didn't die out in winter. It came back and it grew big leaves again. As you can see here, these two are already pretty big, which means that it might even get more big than any previous year because it already had the base. Normally they grow these from a seed, a tiny, tiny seed. It takes about 8 months to become a plant like this. This year it might get, I don't know, out of control big. We will have to wait and see. Over here, a very cool ficus. I think it's the Shiveriana, the Elastica Shiveriana. I'm not quite sure. I'm not really well known in ficus, but it's a beautiful one and it looks really happy. And then over here, the most epic part, in my opinion, of these greenhouses is the Aroid display. Might be good to know that every botanical garden usually focuses on one specific area. So Utrecht, for example, focuses more on South America. And Leiden is focused on Asia. So these plants, they wouldn't normally have in the collection. Even though it's not specifically their research, they've become a little bit more open to aroids. And this is what they show now. So let me show you some. We have Anthurium bakeri, really big. This made a lot of seeds as well. There's a lot of big Anthurium like this. And also over here, just not anything that we know, I think, except if you are an Anthurium expert. Here's another one. The light is not ideal, but there's a lot of those. But then over here we have, I don't even know this name for this one either. Look how big it is. The leaves have started to droop a little bit. They used to be really upright and now they've started hanging a little bit. In the back there is the Philodendron melanochrysum. This is my favorite plant ever, and it's really sized up since they placed it here and put it against the wall, so it's really amazing. And on this side, Esqueleto, Monstera Esqueleto, that's starting to attach to the wall now and hopefully will get even bigger leaves. Down here is some caladiums. There's a tortum, Philodendron tortum. There's a little Alocasia. Oh, Ans found the label. Anthurium cupulispatum is the big one. Thank you, Ans. Handy to have someone with me. I think these are mamae crawling all over the ground. Some crystallinum. I think this is the big crystallinum mama that was very sad because they moved it here and it's going to come back in spring. And down here, a bunch of Alocasia. Sorry if I'm going too fast and talking too fast, but I'm very excited because look, all the cupreas, beautiful. This is another crystallinum. Can't even show you how big it is. And the gloriosum, Philodendron gloriosum, is really beautiful and big. Look at these leaves, and it is starting to make a new leaf and also has a flower over there. Also adorable, but very different sizes. Some Selaginella, little babies. The Frydek, Alocasia mycolithiana maxkowski. I think this is another philodendron. This is a hybrid that they have that is labeled Regal, but it's not. It has a little bit of the petioles like a Magnificum hybrid. And back here is a little Monstera dubia crawling up the wall, shingling up the wall. And then some more potted plants all over the place. It is just plant heaven. Especially this one, of course. Oh, speaking of looking up, look at this Musa aye. I don't know how to pronounce that, but the variegated banana plant, which is really big. I don't think it's this big in our homes. There's also a lot of plants that I personally don't find super interesting, although here's a very cool, I don't know what this is, and some kind of related to Amorphophallus, maybe a corpse lily or something, I think they're called. Beautiful flower, but also a lot of bromeliads and orchids that don't look very interesting, and houseplants. This is a Piper sylvaticum, So there is a lot that you can see. There's a lot more time you can spend here depending on which plants you are interested in. I personally don't have an interest in these, sorry guys, so that's why I usually skip over them. They also have a lot of carnivorous plants here. These are Nepenthes, I think, and just very cool random ones. I think this is a Huersia. Don't know, not everything has labels. So basically you can create your own route depending on what you find interesting. Like this whole path is all Nepenthes and carnivorous plants. So if you like that, you can go here. There's a whole aisle with ferns as well. There's orchids everywhere. So if you love orchids, this garden will definitely be for you. These greenhouses are more orchids as well. Like I said, they have so many orchids. And ever since I got to know Rogier, I've learned you have to smell all the flowers because sometimes there's such weird smells. I don't have all my smell back since COVID yet, but I don't smell anything right now. That doesn't mean anything. I found another one that's flowering all over the place, and this does have a smell. It kind of smells like chai latte, like sweet. Does that make sense? Chai latte, does anyone know? I like it. I want to eat it. If you want to buy this one, I found the label. Oh, I cannot pronounce. But this is the label. And if you don't know, I don't drink coffee, and chai latte is like my favorite. So if we're ever hanging out, I'm probably getting a chai latte. Another adorable orchid. Some areas used to be fully closed off because people stealing, but now they just have some protection like this. You can see some Amorphophallus here. This is Aroid, which is the one with the pink surroundings. I don't know which one this is. Sometimes the most inconspicuous plants are really worth a lot of money. And unfortunately, people sometimes think they can just take plants or cuttings from a garden or from a shop. And I just want to remind you, I know most of you know this, but taking a piece of a plant is stealing. And if you want a piece of a plant, ask first. Ask whoever is in charge. They might say no, and then you know. And then you can ask, do you know anywhere to buy it? But taking, even if it's just a small piece or like a one leaf, whatever, it's stealing, and it's just not good. If you ask, it just gives it such a better feeling. Even if they say no, then they'll know you're interested in plants and they might have a nice conversation with you and you might learn something. So always ask. Sorry for the rant. Here is a flowering little orchid, a Labicia. No, wait, I'm saying it wrong. This is, oh, tell me in the comments what this is. This is a little jewel orchid. That's the easiest one. Something with an L. I really don't know. Interesting lady slipper orchid that has 2 flowers. I've never seen that before. I have no idea if it's normal or not. I'm not an orchid expert. Here, this looks more like a Phalaenopsis. If you don't know, there's also hanging, this is the back of the melano, by the way. There's also orchids hanging everywhere and they're getting caught in my hair with their little branches. It's always an adventure walking around here. Ooh, look at this. This is a huge flower. I don't know, the light is from the wrong angle. Look at these. I don't smell anything, but they look beautiful. What are you, sir? Dendrobium macrophyllum. Also those Staghorn ferns, they have a whole collection. And some of them are actually grown like this. I don't know if you can see, on a big blob hanging down. And they currently don't look amazing because I think they're in winter mode. But when they start to grow again, it looks so cool. And it's hanging out together with the big Amorphophallus. They also successfully pollinated a big Amorphophallus titanum last summer. So there's a bunch of seeds here that are still ripening. And also I think it's rotting. Interesting to see. There's an ant plant collection. So weird and funky. And then we'll go through the corridor here, which is also a really nice jungle vibe with the Spanish moss. In case you come by here, there's a little philodendron gigas, hopefully gonna crawl all the way up this part. This is a Phytonia, but a really big one. This is a species Gigantea. If you hold this next to a regular Phytonia, you'll know how incredibly big these are. Calathea family, or it's a wiki, or however you pronounce that, the soft one. Cool random flowers. For the Calathea lovers, there's a huge Orbifolia here. Look, this is my hand. And it's living next to a croton, for those of you who like crotons. Alocasias, Calathea sabrina. This is Philodendron polypodioides that's growing up, really nice size, and a silver sword as well, getting really smashed against the top. Speaking of getting smashed on the top, on the other side is a regular Adansoni, which might be something else with an L. I'm no expert in Monstera at all, but this is bought from a garden center, so just a plant that we have at home as well. When it gets big, it gets like this. Here at the bottom you can see how we know this plant. Oh, and there's a crystallinum here as well. For those who like begonia, you can see them here. It currently doesn't look amazing, but that's because it's winter. They put some of these behind glass because they need to be in a terrarium, but you can at least see it as a visitor as well, which is awesome. So you can see some really nice begonia here. Now we're going up the stairs to the Victoria greenhouse. Huge Sansevieria, by the way, look at this size. Ignore my dirty nails. I am a plant woman after all. This is where, in the right season, the huge Victoria water lilies grow. Currently they are not there because it's not the right season. There's some water bananas as well, which I used to think were alocasias, but they're not. And then down here you may have already spotted the holy leaves, Monstera, huge one, and also a Thai constellation. Luckily now the hype has died down a little bit, so they were brave enough to put this here and not be scared of people stealing it, so that's awesome. So many Monstera here, and there's a fruit as well. See, really nice. Not ripe yet. There's so much more I could show you here, but I have to go home soon, so I don't want this video to be too long. Just to show you the water bananas from the other side. Look how beautiful. They basically look like alocasias, but with a longer stem. And I guess that makes sense because the stem looks quite like a banana as well. So it kind of makes sense now. There's beautiful flowers everywhere as well. And crawlers, beautiful epischia. It's just a whole adventure walking around here, especially if you are from a more tropical location. If you come here, it might feel like home for a little while. Or if you're like me and you're 100% Dutch and boring, you can experience being in the jungle. Oh, I see a butterfly. It was very ADHD of me, but see, they have butterflies living here. Ah, it flew away. Oh, sorry, buddy. Randomly growing on the table, beautiful Margravias and moss, Selaginella. Everything is happy here. So much moss. And random little plants that somehow got here, and lots of ferns everywhere. There's stuff growing underneath the tables as well. Always check underneath the tables. I think this is a Tradescantia. Oh, and over here, I don't know, this one I actually planted with my friend Jeff. This is a Mycans that came from my home, attaching to the wall. A little variegated Marantas, so they're trying to grow this empty bit a little bit more full. Caladiums. I think this is an Aglaonema. In case you were wondering where the Hoya are and some of the Aroids that they do have here, they are still keeping quite a few plants in the back because of the risk of being stolen. Like some of the nicer Aroids are in the back, the Obliquas, the Queen Anthurium, and also the whole Hoya collection, unfortunately, that I take care of. I am a volunteer here, because that is a research collection, which means that researchers can come from all over the world to use and see the Hoya that they keep here. So it's quite an extensive collection. I have done a tour before of there because the greenhouses are closed to the public. You can check that out here if you want to see behind the scenes, but that's why there's not so many cool Hoya. Just thought you might want to know. There's also a beautiful outside, but I'm choosing to just show you the tropical greenhouses for now. This one, if you like cool plants, this is usually where they portray the cooler growing cool plants that are often in flower. And if you really like Hoya, you can peek into these windows to see some of them. But you can't really see because the windows are dirty. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe below if you haven't already. And check the linked videos for more Planty content. I make videos every Wednesday on here and almost daily on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Thanks so much, friends. Bye.